Let's continue to talk about assumptions. I've mentioned in an earlier episode that assumptions are an important concept which we need to understand if we want to become better leaders and better lovers as well. I'm trying to do that game with my wife all the time, and we're getting better at identifying our assumptions. And when we are really at our bests, we are starting very often a sentence with "I'm making an assumption now." And then we have the possibility to revise the assumptions. But where do assumptions come from? And how does that work in the brain? Well, there is this fundamental model devised by Chris Argyris and also published by Peter Senge in the Fifth Discipline 30 years ago, and it's still so vivid and lively and important that I really want to talk about it. It's the ladder of inference. And probably many of you know it, but it's important to repeat it. So the ladder of inference says that of all the information that is available to us, and I talked about the 34 gigabyte a day which passes our brain and the 300 extrabyte which are available in the world. So what we do is we apply filters. And we can talk another time about the brain mechanisms of the filters, but for today let's just assume we apply filters, and with that we narrow down the information that we further process, and we further process the information, then we make assumptions. So we fill all the holes which the information that we have processed doesn't provide. So we fill it with information which is already in our brain, things we have seen before, things we believe, and so on. And we make assumption about what's going on, about the other person, about the situation. And then we come to conclusions. We say, okay, so this has happened, so that should mean. And with time, with lifetime, out of these many conclusions, we form our belief systems. And based on our belief systems, we act, and we act sometimes in a good way and sometimes in a way which might not be the right response to what's happening out there. The crucial thing is that these belief systems are one of the most important forces that determine our filters. So we are getting even stronger in our assumptions, and it's very, very difficult to get out of this loop. There are some techniques, let's say, some tools, some methods, but it's hard to get rid of assumptions, to suspend assumptions. I don't think it's even totally possible, but it's something we have to learn. It's a matter of growing up, of becoming an adult. So can you tell me, how do you get rid of your assumptions, or how do you suspend them? Do you have a practice, as my wife and I have from time to time? Do you say the sentence, "This is an assumption, let me test it"? Or do you ask the other person maybe for their assumptions? Which are the facts on which you build your assumptions? What conclusions do you draw? What do you believe? These are all valuable questions. Let's continue to discuss that, and let me hear from you. What do you think? I'm Holger Nauheimer, this is Comcast.